English news and
and a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome to the East West Show, exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, a Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry that has 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the master craftsman, which stands for a testimony to the spectacular and a share of the royal glory. With me today is my good friend from West Covina, Mayor Lloyd Johnson, a great man, a man who has done his part serving the country gloriously, bravely, with lots of gallantry. Retiring, he never stopped, and he's been a council member elected since 2014. 2015, and now he's serving as mayor of West Covina. To Mayor Lloyd Johnson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to be here.
Very good, very good. With the hat of a Purple Heart, which is a trademark, he's recognized everywhere by his constituents. On the back of his card, he has all the numbers of the city, including his own cell phone. Yes. That's the way I call service. That's the way I call elected officials. So once again, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. I know recently in the city of West Covina, there is something happening, something major happening. We are headquartered in California, in West Covina.
Yes, you are.
And many of our employees are citizens of West Covina. So we have, a special reason to care about West Covina more than anybody else does. So what's going on in the city, good or bad?
I'm sorry?
What's going on in the city, good or bad now?
Well, right now, I think we're going on an upcline.
Uphill.
Before we've had some problems that we're going down. I think we're starting to get better. Mm-hmm. We're starting to make some changes for the positive. So I think things are doing better than they were, Jack.
Well, you say before you used to have some problems. What kind of problems did you have?
Well, we had a lot of problems. Basically, it was our public safety. They weren't happy with their chiefs. The POA wasn't happy with the police chief. The Firefighter Association wasn't happy with their fire chief. Mm-hmm. And plus we finally got our budget settled, and we have a true budget that we feel that it's a good budget that leads us into the following 1920 year. So it's and I think we're moving in a positive direction.
All right. Okay. So I remember last time when you and I were talking on the show, though, you mentioned about the kind of shortage of budget over PD, police department, whereas you're restricted from hiring more officers. Is that problem still?
We still have a problem with it with the funding, but the police department had we had like I think we had like 5 vacancies we had that the police officers could fill. They're being funded for those. So just the other day we hired another police officer, and a few weeks before that we hired another one. So we've hired 2 or 3 police officers in the last 6 months. So we're getting up there slowly by slowly. It's going to take a while because the budget, I wish I could say the budget allowed for us to have a full force. Like we used to have like 123 officers. Well, we just don't have the budget for that right now. So, but I feel if we keep moving in the way we're moving, and you hire quality officers.
You're right.
They can do the job.
Not only the number, you have the quality. You have to hire the quality people, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now you're close to 100?
Yeah, we're low. I think we're like 102 now.
Oh, 102?
Yes.
All right. Last time you were talking about 97 something, right?
97, 98 we had. So we've hired since that last time, we've had some officers that came from other departments, like the one we just hired right now, came from the sheriff's department.
Ah,
they
I
transferred
see.
over. So we're getting them. We're getting quality
Very good for
police
you.
officers.
Good for you. And in the meantime, I've heard, of course, lots of people are talking about, which of course is the reason why I invite you to come here to face our audiences, is that you recently have fired the previous chief of police and have hired another one.
Yes.
So what is the replacement about, please?
Well, what happened, Jack, basically, not only the police chief, but the fire chief, both of them were fired on it. Well, then we also, Chris Freeland, which was our city manager, the council also fired him. So we had an interim city manager coming in, David Carmody. You know, he's running the job, and he says he went around, he talked to all the POA, and he went around and talked to all the fire department, and they said, hey, they were very, very unhappy with their chiefs. That things aren't going right.
I see,
Things
I
need to be
see.
changed. So he made a change. He took it upon himself.
I see.
Now, remember, the council has to okay it. It was on the fire chief.
Let's talk about them one by one. Let's
Okay, sure.
see
Which one do you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's see the police chief first.
Okay, the police
What
chief.
did the previous police chief do to get himself fired?
Well, you know, to me, I don't think he did anything wrong. As far as I see it, when we voted on it, it was a 4-1 to fire him. I was
see.
the one that voted against it. You know, I felt that he was doing.
You're the fair man.
He was doing what the council told him to do. He was making the changes that we told him had to be made, and the POA didn't like the changes that were being made. So nationally,
POA.
that's the Police Officers Association.
I see.
Those are the working men that are out there on patrols. Those are the ones you see out on the streets. The Police Officers Association, the union.
Okay.
So they were very unhappy with him. So it was like a 90-some% no confidence vote on him. In other words, they didn't trust him.
I see.
You have to be able to trust the person in charge.
How long has the person been in position as a chief police?
Mark was there, I think, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. I think.
Oh,
After you became a council member.
Oh yeah, because I became a council member in 2015. And he was just hired in 2017. So he was
I
there
see.
for 2 years.
I see. So what was that exactly he did? Something wrong or accident whatsoever? Or it is because of his incapability of doing the job?
I think he could do the job. It's the idea is that Mark worked for us years ago. He retired like 7 or 8 years ago from the West Covina PD. Well, I think he was a commander when he was retired. But he came back, we made him the chief, but he thinks you can run the same thing as you did 7 or 8 years ago.
I see.
Things change. You have to change with it.
Okay.
The younger officers aren't the same as they were 10 years ago. You know, the way they train them and the way they do things are different.
I see.
And Mark wanted to stay the old school. That's the way it was, and he didn't. I guess he didn't want to change the way it was. So the police officers out on the street just didn't want him as their chiefs.
I see.
And to me, you have to have the men happy. You can't always give them what they want, because we do have to balance it.
I see.
But the interim city manager felt by talking to, he went around, he actually talked to the POA, went out on the street with them. He took a ride in a patrol with them.
Yeah.
And I said,
All right.
what are your problems? And every one of them said that.
And of course, when today I sit down with you, I have collected all questions regarding the city from my audiences, so that I make a good use of this moment.
Right, let's find
so
out.
I may ask them one by one
Ask
to
away,
get
my
the
friend.
official answer, my dear friend. Let's take a short moment out. We come back to continue right away, please.
Everything expected and straight. It's like the scenes on
My
Wayne.
name is Paul James. I host English news
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to the show. my dear brothers and sisters of Southern California. With me today is my dear friend, Mr. Lloyd Johnson, a glorious veteran of Vietnam War. He came with some, he did his part for this country. And like I said, I salute to anybody who put their lives in line, did the service, big service to the country, and which in his case, though, he never stopped and he continued. And now he is a council member, based on which he is the mayor of the city of West Covina, yes. Right? And wearing this, his trademark hat, it's a Purple Heart hat. He is recognized everywhere, and he is the most convenient guy to reach to, most available. Anytime you call him, I would say you will get him either on the line or get your call returned within the hour. Yes. Right? I purposely tried him several times. I never failed. All right. So, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor.
Recently, there are some change in the beautiful city of West Covina. Some major ones, such as the change, the switch of the chief of police, West Covina PD, and the shift of the chief of fire department PD of West Covina. Yes. So we're talking one by one. We were on the part of police chief. We're back on where we stopped, right? Yes. The other thing I want to ask on behalf of my audiences is that some of my audiences are worried the firing and the hiring of the chief of police, though, was there or has there been any corruption founded or discovered?
Oh, no, there's no corruption there. It's just, all it was is just, like I said before, the POA lost confidence in the chief. And we have to have a harmony above them. The new police chief we have right now, Richard Bell, they love him. He's been a captain in the department for many years. So we promoted him from the captain to chief. And the police officers love him. And I think that's what we need.
You mean the new one?
The new one.
What is his name?
Richard Bell. B-E-L-L.
Richard Bell.
You know, he's been a captain in our West Covina PD for many years. Very intelligent man. Some of the changes.
Oh, you selected somebody homemade.
Oh, yes.
All right, good is good for you.
Yeah.
Because in this case, he knows the city.
Yes, he does.
It's not a kind of like airborne.
No, like Dave Faulkner. Dave Faulkner, we brought him in from outside. It didn't work.
I see.
Then Mark Taylor, we brought him back after he retired.
Okay, hold it right there. Let me confirm with my audience that do not worry. Of course, you have good reason to worry when everybody has a right to worry, right?
Of course.
But the answer is that there is no corruption founded in the case of either firing or hiring, confirmed by my friend, Lloyd Johnson, mayor of West Covina. Well, a problem sometimes but problems may not all be in the corruption area.
No,
right.
There was no corruption there.
Okay, very good. So, with the new chief, though, how many years he's been in service?
Right, he's been a police officer for 27, 28 years.
Oh, I see.
So, you know, he's been around a long time. Been with West Covina for, before I was really, been with West Covina for almost 20 years.
I see.
Like
Richard Bell.
Richard Bell. A very smart leader. I've had the opportunity to sit down with him, and we talked about the changes that needs to be made. And he told me the changes that he wants to make it run more efficient. Get the police officers out there that are doing their job. You want to make them feel like they want to come to work. Like
All right.
You know, not just because it's a job.
How long has he been on the job, on the position as the chief of police?
It's only been a couple of months now. But remember, before we hired Mark Taylor for him, Richard Bell was our interim chief from the transition from Dave Faulkner when he left.
Oh, I see.
Before we hired Mark Taylor, Richard Bell was our acting chief. So he'd been there. He knows how to do it. He can do the job.
I see. In other words, there's a kind of like overlapping thing, right?
Yeah,
For a period of time, that he's been the acting chief anyway, right?
He was our acting chief. So when we got rid of Mark Taylor, now we made him the acting chief. Now we just hired him as a full-time chief.
I see.
At the last council meeting.
So good news for the West Covinians. I call you guys West Covinians because I myself is one. That we had this chief. The chief we have now is not somebody airborne who landed here all of a sudden knowing nothing about. He is a homegrown and being in the PD for more than 20 years. And the better part is that he's been on a kind of like probation basis, acting as an acting chief, right, for quite some time.
It was just a few months, but he had done it before. So it wasn't like this was his first time.
So
he was our acting chief before for a few months. You know, and he did a great job then.
The fact that I put lots of emphasis on it is because issues concerning public safety is not something that you can wait.
Oh no,
right?
You have
because bad things could happen any minute, any given minute,
true.
right? Right. So it's kind of an emergency case that you have somebody, take the place right away. And the good part is that our city, West Covina, is prepared, has been prepared, and they did the transaction, I would say, seamless.
Yes, we
right?
did.
Seamlessly. Very good. Very good.
Very good.
All right. During the couple of months or 3 months or whatever time he's been taking position, I mean, Richard Bell,
Yes.
do we people start to see changes already?
Well, little by little we are. And I think where the changes...
Little by little we are.
I think the changes we're seeing, Jack, is that the attitude, at the very beginning, the attitude of our patrol officers out on the street. I think the attitude is changing with them. They want to come to work now. They know they have a leader that they can trust, a leader that will listen to their problems. If they have a problem, the newest officer out on the street, if they have a problem, they can actually go and talk to the chief. His door is open to anybody. Walk in, sit down, and we'll talk. And I think that's what we need. And a true leader, you need someone to say, my door's open. I don't care where you stand in the police department. You need to talk to me, I'm here. You don't have to go through the sergeant or the lieutenant or the captain. My door's open. And Richard Bell's made the commitment, the buck stops here.
All right.
And he says the changes he will be making, that he just won't be a swift change. He wants to make the change so the police officers, everybody can fall in and go along with it. Because the way something's going to work, if you have all your employees or whatever it is, buy into it.
All right.
And that's what he's
Thank you very much for the leadership. I mean, the council as a body.
Yes.
At this precise moment, critical moment, did a great job with a seamless transaction of firing and hiring. And for that, I believe that the West Covinians are the most beneficial.
Yes, they are, very much so.
All right. As on the other side of the coin, though, as a mayor of the city, how do you assess the morale of the police officers?
Now it's better.
I knew that for some time they were low. They were kind of caught by some kind of obstacles whatsoever. So is that bringing up or brought up already?
Well, you know, like I say, along with our new chief, yes. We've had two chiefs in the past. Before Mark, it was David Faulkner. They weren't happy with him. You know, they just, then they weren't happy with Mark. At the very beginning they were, but then it went south. Then. Richard Bell, they know Richard Bell. they know what kind of leader he is. He's been a leader in the West Covina for many years as a captain. So they know what they got. So they're buying into it. And once you buy into a situation, you want to do everything you can to make it work.
He has the, in other words, he has the grassrooted support.
Oh yes, 100%.
Right? The kind of enigma.
Yeah, you know, not only does he have it with his rank and file, he also has it with his mid-management, your lieutenants and your captains. He has it with that. And then he has 100% support from the city council.
I see.
It all makes it work. If one's not working, it's like a motor. The gears are running. If one of those gears has a tooth missing, we're going to have a problem. But right now, the whole thing's working together. You got the Police Officer Association, you got your mid-management, you have our city council, you have our city manager. Everybody's working together.
Yeah, you're
like
right.
this.
You're right.
It makes it work.
Sure. Absolutely. Of course, as to us, the regular citizen of West Covina, though, all we needed to know, you're right, all we needed to know is that this motor is running beautifully.
Right now it's running great.
As how exactly, which part, which of the tooth or whatever, or screw or whatever, have they done? Those are two technical things. Probably we can worry about less, but what we care about this very moment is that the motor is running back in order beautifully, seamlessly.
Right now it's running great.
Thank you for that information. All right, let's take a short break, my dear friends. We will be right back.
Everything
We
was
have
expected.
continue to work
It's
on
like
it now.
seeing John Wayne.
It's called James. I host this news.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome back to the East-West Show that is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the greatest craftsmen of the world, which stands for testimony for the spectacular and the share of the royal glory. With that, we go back to our show, which is a discussion with my dear friend and a friend to the community, Mr. Mayor of West Covina, Lloyd Johnson. Mr. Lloyd Johnson served the country in the biggest way he could, and his Purple Heart hat will tell you everything. He came back wounded. Now he is suffering from lots of conditions due to the war, due to his service, however, gloriously.
Thank you.
Right. To that, you deserve a special salute.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. And again, being a mayor of such a big city, more than 112, I believe, thousand people, and it's a full-time busy job, right? And the good part is that the job has no pay.
It's a volunteer job.
It's almost a joke. Right. However, people, elected officials like himself, enjoy doing that.
Yes, we do.
Right? And they take it seriously doing that. And well, under this beautiful flag of democracy, do you think that's why it is beautiful?
Well, of course it is. That's why.
Very good. Now, back to the job. Of course, the reason of today's show, the reason why we're doing today's show is because that recently we have heard that there are some big change in West Covina. So we're doing an update of the city, or call it City Update of West Covina, because there are two changes, hiring of police officer, chief of police, and the firing and the hiring of a fire police, right? We understood confirmingly from all the information given officially by Mayor of West Covina, Lloyd Johnson, that number one, the firing and the hiring has no corruption involved.
That's right. No corruption whatsoever.
Number two, the total number of police officers came from 97 to 102, even though from the most desired target number of 129, well, they are getting closer.
They're getting better.
Of course, all will need to just a way to till, well, the money is there, is a budget issue. And number three, the motor, if you talk PD of West Covina as a motor, we constituents can be rest assured that it is back running beautifully in order.
Yes.
Right, good. With this confirmation, we move on to the fire department. Yes, we heard a lot about the fire department, the fire head, the chief of a fireman, the firing and the hiring. So what happens with the fire department?
Well, Larry Whithorn, which was our fire chief, I felt, like I said again, I felt he was doing a good job. There was a lot of problems with the fire department too. They didn't like some of the changes that were being made. Even though we told the fire chief to make the changes as a city council, these are the changes you have to make to balance your budget. And the fire department didn't like it. They fought back. And a lot of criticism, a lot of this and a lot of that going on. I know Larry Whithorn was off sick for a long time. If I believe it's either stomach cancer or something that he had, and he was off for quite a few months. So he didn't get to do the job, as far as I was concerned, that a healthy fire chief should have been doing. So some of the things he did, it could have been because, but he was getting better. He was doing good. But anyway, they make it that the fire department workers were very unhappy with him, with the decisions that he was making. And so what happened, they started complaining to certain people. And, even council members, they get their ears and they go to him and say, this isn't working, we need a new fire chief. And so they get with the city manager. Our city manager was an interim city manager. And when he hired in, within just a few weeks, that's when he fired him. But that's his prerogative. He was the fire chief. I mean, he was the city manager. He hires and fires them. So, but I didn't see, personally, I didn't see any reason to fire him. And I made that very clear. Now, did I uphold his decision? Yes, I did. And the reason why I upheld his decision, Jack, is that we gave him the opportunity to come in and talk to the council and appeal his decision of being fired. He did not come and talk to us. So, as an administrator, whatever you do is, the only thing you can do when you decide on something are the facts that are presented to you in front of you. And since Larry didn't come in and give me his side of the story, the only thing I could go on are the facts that the city manager brought to us. And so
The city manager what?
He brought the fact. He went out and he talked.
I see. Yeah.
To the Firefighters Association. He went to all of the stations, 1 through 5, and he talked to the personnel there, and he went along with them. So he rode along on a ride along with them. So he got to talk to him, and it was like 100% no confidence for the police chief. They felt if they don't get harmony in the fire department, they need a change at the top. Even though Larry Whithorn was with the police.
You played it very fairly. You just mentioned you voted one of the four, one of the, I mean, the only one out of the 5 of the no, right?
That was with the police chief.
Oh, that was police chief.
Now the fire chief, I voted along with him. The only reason why I did that, like I said, I probably would have voted no if Larry would have came in and talked to us. If the chief at the time, if he would have came in.
He didn't bring his side of the story.
No, he did not bring his side of the story. So it's like every good administrator, if you don't give them your side of the story, they can't agree with you because they don't have
Yeah,
the
of course,
facts.
of course, yeah.
If you'd have brought the facts forward, I probably would have voted no on him, another firing on him too. But he didn't do that. So the only thing I could go along with it was the information that I was given, why he was fired.
All right, anyway. So how many manpowers the fire department has?
I do believe, I think it's 60, I think it's 60 something they have.
60 something. How many
67.
engines?
Engine, we have 5 stations that are open.
Scattered over the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
You remember, we're 17 square miles.
Uh,
So we have 5 of them around the city. In fact, we have one right down the street.
yeah. You know, one is the police department. The other is the fire department. These two departments hold the livelihood of the city, right?
There are
Hold the
police
death
safety,
and life and death of the city. Those are the major lines, right? Okay. Now, the city made a good decision to let go with the situation, to let go with the firing and hirings, and I believe that's something moving towards the positive side. And also, I've heard that the city has recently replaced its manager. This is the act of the new city manager, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, what's that part of the story?
You know, our city lately, there used to be an old program on TV called Peyton Place years ago. I thought we were falling into that. There was so much drama going on and everything. Well, we replaced the city manager, Chris Freeland. The council wanted to go in a different direction. They just figured the way he was running the city wasn't what they wanted to do. Now, I want to tell you, that was on a 4-1 vote. I voted against firing him, you know, especially right before our budget. So they hired David Carmody.
So the previous city manager was fired.
He was fired.
Was fired, right?
Yeah.
Was fired with a 5-5 vote or
No, 4-1.
4-1 vote.
And I was the one that voted no.
You were the one that voted to keep him.
Yes.
To give him one more chance.
Yes.
But you were denied anywhere. You were the minority.
I was a minority.
So the previous one was fired,
Yes.
and the new one came in.
Yeah.
All right. So is he proven to be a much better hand?
Well, to me, I can't say yes, and I won't say no. He hasn't been there long enough. He made the decisions that I believe that had to be made based on, I think, the way that the council got information from the departments. The council never said anything, we want you to fire them. I just feel that our new acting city manager got that feeling that that's what they wanted them to do, even though he wasn't told
All right. Okay.
to do it, because our city manager, that's his job, to hire and fire. As a council, it's our job to hire and fire the city manager and hire and fire the city attorney. Everybody else, it's not our job to hire and fire them. You see, he's like the city manager's like the CEO of a company. The council is just like the board of directors.
Board of director. Okay.
We hire and fire our CEOs.
They're the board members.
They're the board members. So
Shareholders.
yeah. So the city manager answers to us and to us only.
All right. Okay, my dear friends, I believe that my questions are being answered very thoroughly and officially by my dear friend, the mayor of West Covina, Mr. Lloyd Johnson, who served this country in a glorious way and continues to serve. Now he is serving as mayor of the city. Let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we will continue from the point where we left. We're talking about the firing and hiring of city manager versus the city protocols. So stay with us. We'll be right back, please.
Everything.
We have continued to work on it now. Their name is Paul James. coincides with this news every morning.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome back to the show, Check Chow, on the East West Show. Today with me is my good friend, Mr. Loyal Johnson, Mayor of West Covina. And we're talking about the update of West Covina because recently there are lots of talks about the city, and me, of course, on behalf of my community, and I have received lots of emails and telephone calls saying that, Jack, you will probably sometime want to find answers to the concerns of the constituents, voters, or people, or the public regarding recently what's happening in West Covina. And step by step, layer by layer, we found ourselves into it. We find the city is doing a great job back on track. And the motors of some departments are back to running properly. And the good part is that the whole transaction has been so far seamless.
Yes.
Welcome back to the show, sir. So back to the questions. I was still worried about the boundary of authorities. For example, is it totally the city manager's job authority to fire and hire anybody underneath?
It is basically that's his job. But as all city managers, you want to be diligent of what you're doing, because if you have a city council that really likes a department head and they know that they're doing a great job, as a city manager, you're not going to fire them, no matter what. Because remember who hires and fires you. I mean, if you're doing the job, if somebody's messing up, they're not doing the job they're supposed to be, that's his job to replace him. And he has our support 100%.
So does he or she, the city manager, have to get approval of the council to hire or fire anybody under him?
Well, the way the council set it up is that, and that also was on a 4-1 vote, and I don't like meddling. I don't think that the council should do micromanaging. But they voted that any department heads that he hires has to have the okay by the council. Not firing them, just hiring them.
Oh, hiring one way, not both ways.
Not both ways.
Not both ways, right.
Because if we're telling him that you can only fire him with our okay, why do we even have him? Why not just say the council's running the city? You can't do that. You have to have one person. So
Of course. For that, we will probably stop commenting
Right.
because every city might have its own protocols, right? They're all different from one from another,
That's
right?
all- that's very true.
But the thing is that it is the city council's job to decide who you want to hire as the city manager,
it's our job.
all right? And it is the city manager's job how to manage the city,
That's what he's there
including
for.
hiring, firing of the department heads.
Very, very true.
All right, very good, very good. So how long has the new city manager been in place?
4 months. I think it's
4
three-
months.
3 or 4 months, something like that.
Okay.
3 months. In the 3 months.
3-4 months, okay. All right. I believe altogether in 3-4 months, the city of West Covina has fired and hired a new city manager. The city manager has fired and hired chief of police and chief of fire.
Yes.
Right? So I'm going to call it a big move. So in general, is it comfortable to see those changes like an earthquake within a short moment of time?
I believe as a whole, yes, we are. Is there still some issues? Of course there is. There's going to be some issues, Jack. But I feel comfortable with the way we're moving. We still have some critical pieces to put into play. Like we don't have an HR director yet, but we're in the process. So I'm saying we still have some critical pieces that has to be put into place to make the whole motor.
Which is the HR directory?
It's a human resource director. We still, like I said, if you want the engine to run right, you have to have all the right pieces in place to make it work right.
Good philosophy, yes.
And we don't have an HR director, human resource, yet. So we have that missing part. So as the engine's moving this way, it's skipping. It's still moving, but it's not running smooth. It's skipping because we don't have that critical piece.
So you were saying that in spite of the fact is the motor is running beautifully, there might be chances that it could be even better.
Oh yeah, if we get the right pieces, like I say, the human.
Yeah, you're right.
That makes it. Now we have every piece in place. We have our finance director, even though she's an interim finance director, but she's doing a great job for us. And then you have the other ones that once we get that, now the motor's going to run smooth, like it's supposed to run. But without that, you get that little miss, and we have to do the job of a human resource director without having one there permanently.
All right. Speaking of financial part, though, Department of Finance, I understand that for previous years, we heard about the city budget, though. How is the budget doing? And now that we're on it, we might as well mention something about it.
Well, right now we just balanced our budget. And I believe it's a true budget. I've had concerns in the past of us balancing the budget, but not being a real budget. You know, they put it on paper to make it look like a real budget and say, hey, we balanced the budget to send it into the state, but we really didn't have one.
Last time you were here with this discussion with me, you emphasized a lot on the transparency of budget.
Yes.
Right? So as long as transparency is concerned, do you see a better transparency or what?
Well, for this year, balancing the budget, I feel we had a good transparency on it.
Okay.
And that's why I believe it. I didn't believe it in the past.
Okay.
Because I don't think the transparency was there. Our new finance director that we have right now, her books are open to you. You can walk in and sit down and talk to her and say, show me the numbers. She will. Numbers have to match up.
All right, okay. So far, are you in red or black?
Right now we're even.
You're even.
You know, we just balance the budget.
Good for you.
So when you balance the budget, you're even. You're not in the red. You're not.
You're
in the
balanced.
You're balanced, and you're moving forward. We have to make sure, Jack, that our expenditures doesn't outweigh our revenue. If they balance out, we have the revenue here and the expenditure here. I don't care if we go that way all the way through the year, but I don't want the expenditures to be more than the revenue. That's how you get out of budget. You keep the revenues more than the expenditures, you'll always be in fine shape.
All right.
Always.
Okay. So back to the old days, though. When I say old days, I'm not talking about 100 years old. I'm talking about a few years back, though, when there was a problem of budget, when there was a problem of intransparencies and so on and so forth. For those mistakes, did you truly find anything wrong, or anybody goes to jail or whatsoever for it?
No, it wasn't that there was never any corruption.
I see. Okay.
I can call it mismanagement of our funds.
Mismanagement. Okay.
Because everything that was done was legal. Nothing was ever done like that. I think we spent money where we shouldn't have spent it. I think we invested in the things that we shouldn't have done. I want you to recall about 15 years ago, Jack, we had almost a $15 million reserve. $50 million reserve. $50 million reserve.
In reserve. That's a big amount of money for a city.
It's all gone.
It's all gone. Yeah.
Nothing was corrupted. It was just the way that it was done. You know, we have our pensions. We have our PERS. We had our past council. I see our past council couldn't see into the future. They saw what they had right now, and they spent what they had right now.
In other words, if you take that into consideration, though, you're still 15 million in red,
Well,
because
no,
you
it's-
consumed the rainy day money.
Yeah, but it's not in the red because that's what it's there for. You
Okay.
use it, but you can't say we're in the red on that because we just don't have. We still have a reserve. It's a small reserve.
Now, yeah. Oh, I see. Now, besides the balancing of your sheet, though, you still have a small account of reserve.
We have to have. We already set
All right.
that up.
Okay.
Our reserve has to be 20% of our budget. So we still have a few $1 million in there. To run a good reserve, there has to be enough money in there to run the city
You're
for
right.
at least
Good,
2 months
good.
without any
Uh-huh.
income. So that's what that money's for. It's to pay the bills before we get the money from the state, which they give us. So we pay our bills and they reimburse us that money and we put the money back in the
You're
reserve.
right. All right, good. And lots of people of your citizens are commenting by using 2 words. Number 1 word, they say liberal. Number 2 word, they say conservative, right? As a mayor now, how do you compare this council leadership versus the previous council as a body? Are you being more liberal or more conservative?
I think this council will be more conservative.
More
We
conservative.
don't want to spend like we did. We're holding back saying if we can't afford it, we're not going to do it.
Okay.
And we're trying to figure out ways how we can get done what has to be done. How we can give the services to the residents that they deserve. How we can do the special recreational things that we want to do. But it has to add up. I made a commitment when I first was elected, and I have the same commitment now. I will never let the city of West Covina go bankrupt. I will do
You're
everything in
right.
my power for that to happen, and that's what we're doing.
All
if we
right,
have to
good.
make changes here, changes there, we're going to do that.
I'm so glad, because I was a little scared about hearing those big change of the city. Well, anyway, with all the questions answered, though, I feel kind of like started building confidence about the city.
Please do.
And namely, with a city council as a body who believe to be, by themselves, to be more conservative rather than liberal, have done something, taking care of the city by during their short period of time, firing a police manager, city manager, who has fired and hired the Department of the Chief of Police, PD, and hired, well, the fire chief of a fire department, and then does bring the sheet back on balance with a little reserve of a few $1 million, right? Something like that. Good, very good. Last thing I would like to check with you, just a touch base.
Yeah, sure.
I know that the city has approved the marijuana, right? Marijuana project.
Yeah, we
right?
voted.
Yeah.
We voted. A majority of the council voted
Yeah.
to do that.
What is the ongoing situation now?
Excuse me. What happened? It's still in the process of planning. Planning department has to set the guidelines, the parameters, if we're going to move forward with it. You know, they have to say you're allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. It has to go through the planning. Then from the planning, it comes back to the council. See, we already had it once. We sent it back since we approved it. We sent it back to the planning department. Now you guys set the guidelines. If we're going to move forward with allowing them to produce marijuana in the city of West Covina.
All right.
So as soon as it goes through the planning, then it will come back to the
I
council.
see. I've heard one of your neighboring cities has seen some protesters, and who they believe are the paid protesters, to stand by the street, wow, doing that kind of thing. Do you have any of that nature?
You know, I'm not too concerned about residents who doesn't live in the city of West Covina. If they want to come and protest, like I said, that's why they have a card that they fill out before they come up and they speak. It tells it what city they live in. My main concern are the residents of West Covina. if the residents of West Covina don't get out and they protest it that much, I'm willing to move forward with it. But I have to remember, and I try to tell them, we're not letting them dispense marijuana in the city of West Covina. Where we let them grow it or whatever that they do for medical marijuana only, that's the way we're moving. So it has to be for medical marijuana use only. And Jack, there's only a few places in the city of West Covina this can be done. And you want to know where they're at? It's right in this area here that your studio's in.
I see.
Not this complex, but basically like, where the old Tribune was?
In other words, you either not do it, or when you do it, or you really want to do it with a very, very planned way.
Oh yes, it has to be.
Very
We're not going
planned.
to jump into it and just do it.
Very good, my friend. My lovely audience, we are a little over time, but I really feel that it is worth my time, my while, and to get all the answers from my dear friend, Lloyd Johnson, mayor of West Covina, a great man who served the country at a time when needed, came back wounded and never stopped servicing, now servicing as the mayor of West Covina. So thank you for watching, my dear friends, and to you, sir, thank you again.
Thank you, Jack. It's an honor, my friend.
Same here.